All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 0 again. I just couldn't handle the crashes. It was too much. On that day, I recorded a day 4, and I crashed like 5, 6 times recording that day, and some of them were like almost back to back. It just got to be too much. I just couldn't deal with it. So, welcome to the reset of the No Trader series. So this is episode 0, which is my mod list, and if enough time, random world generation. If not, we'll do that during episode 1, and we'll just have a long episode 1. So here we go. Our mod list. Now, the mod list is subject to change. The mod list will be in the description of each video for the 7 Days to Die series. There will be in the description a link to this Google Sheet if you wish to look. And things like that, okay? Now, when I mean it's subject to change, there are a couple of mods that might be added, but they're going to be like things like Aura Giggle Fairy mods. Right now, Aura Giggle Fairy is doing a big test on their own server about their decoration block mod that they made. And they just recently finished updating it, but they're testing it out on their own server first before they release it to the public to make sure no major crashes or anything happens. So, as soon as that is released into the public, I'll be adding that to our mod list, of course, and things like that. If there's any mod that I add or update, I will make sure to mention it in the video at either the beginning or the end of the video when I can. So, of course, let's start out here. We do have our Giggle Fairies mods. They're the main UI mod and other mods, but their main thing is they have a big old pack of mods and stuff that they made that you can add to your game. One of them is the HUD Plus. I love our Giggle Fairies version of the HUD, so I will always pretty much use this unless I'm playing like a mod pack like War of the Walkers or Undead Legacy or something. They also have a backpack that has 84 slots in it. The add-on for health bars. What this does is it allows us to see the health of the zombies. A calendar. This is just flavor, really. When we spawn in, our day 1 will always start as a Monday. So that's basically what it does. It just adds like a day of the week type thing to the top of the HUD. We need to have the core mod, which is needed for other mods to work. So make sure you get the core mod. Flora Harvester is a mod that allows you to get like plant fiber and stuff real easily. It allows you to make a tool. I don't know if it costs like 1 wood or 1 rock or something, but it allows you to make something that'll do a really good job of getting you plant fiber and things. That's what it's for. Stay longer zombie loot. By default, the loot bags last, what is it, 20 minutes or 30? This either doubles or triples it or something like that. Compact trees. If you do not know, in 7 Days to Die, the trees are really, really laggy. So when you do your own tree farm, you're going to be having like big FPS issues. So what this mod by Aura Giggle Fairy does is it combines 5 tree seeds into 1 tree seed, and when you harvest that tree, you get 5. You get the five trees worth out of that 1 tree. Basically, what that does. Or vehicle storage sizes. This affects all the vehicles from the bicycle all the way up to the gyrocopter to give them more storage. Vehicles use less gas. Automobile respawn. We're going to be playing, if you didn't see our little earlier deal, we're playing with no traders and 25% loot. So I'm going to counteract that with a little bit of things. One of those things is automobile respawn. When we take apart an automobile, a a seat will drop onto the ground, and the car will grow back like a plant. So we don't have to, if we want to, we can come back and harvest that again later. It's not that quick. It's not like it does it in a day or anything. It takes like 2 or 3 days, I think, for it to come back. Zombie corpses leave quicker. This is just for lag's sake. The corpses will just disappear quicker, like pretty quick. I think they disappear within 10-15 seconds, if not quicker. Farming Plus, uh, one of the main things I know about the Farming Plus mod is I think it kind of goes with the Compact Trees mod in that you can combine seeds. I haven't really ever messed with it. You can combine seeds to make a, one plant harvest into five and stuff like that. I think another thing it does is it automatically gives you, once you have farming the farming perk at level 3, it will automatically give you it will give you a harvest. It'll give you a seed back 100% every time when you harvest. I think it does that as well. Mod slots plus, in with the vanilla tools. That's why I don't have any modded tools. Usually in vanilla, it is there is, you get up to, like, I think 4 mod slots at a tier 6 tool. This will make the mod slots match the tier 6 tool, so you should get 6 slots, I think, for every one of those, for every tier. But it only works with vanilla unless you kind of like add it in, so it will affect the other tools, and I decided I just didn't want to go through that. Paintbrush Plus, one of the main things this does is it makes it where we don't need paint to paint. uh I know it's kind of counterintuitive, but if I'm going to be going and fixing up my base and things like that, I'm going to want to use a paintbrush without having to always go and get paint and stuff like that. So that's what this is for. It also allows you to paint quicker, and it also allows you to paint further away as well, I think. Or did they? No, I think what it is since you paint so much quicker, they shortened the range so you don't accidentally paint something you don't want to paint. I think is how that works. Tires to wheels. Basically, if you see a wheel on the ground, you can actually harvest it. It will give you a wheel, but you have to craft that wheel into a working wheel so you can use it to make vehicle things. Tool improvements just increases like the wrenching speed of like the impact driver and stuff like that. Uh, the OCB Maurice stuff. We have the advanced pin recipes mod, remote description, and plant grow info. The plant growth info is the remote description is required for plant growth info. It just lets us know when the next stage of our plants are going to grow if we look at them. Map waypoints just gives us a much more, many more waypoints we can use, more icons on the map. Stop fuel waste actually should be stop fuel waste, not stop fuel waste. So there's that. Stop fuel waste, basically if we start like cooking something and we go like we cook a bunch of water and we go out into the world to loot places, we don't have to worry about all of our coal or wood or whatever we're using to cook it is going to disappear, because once it finishes cooking all of that, it will just stop automatically. Say it does the same thing in the forge and stuff like that. Electricity wire colors. This is allows us to have different colored wires based on how many runs we have off of one thing. So every time we run something off of something, it should turn into a different color. And I'm not sure, but I think we can also, while we're having the wire tool, change the color manually ourselves if we wish to. OCB Light Enabler POI. Some people might think this is cheaty. I just think this is a quality of life thing personally. If we have if we go and take over a place, we can turn on the lights in the place without having to give them power, as long as they're part of the POI in the first place. If it's something we place down, a light we place down, we would of course have to hook power to it to get it to light up. But that's what that does, and it works for all POI lights. Beyond storage is basically craft from containers continued in version 1.0. And I think their name is Anthodora or something like that. The original mod author for craft from containers has just moved on and is not modding any, I don't think, any game anymore, or just has moved on from 7 Days to Die. But one of the people, there are a couple of continuation mods for it. One of them is Beyond Storage by UNV Annihilator, which basically just continues craft from containers on. There are a couple of extra things that in the configs you can do if you wish to enable them. Mostly things for multiplayer servers, I think. And also some of it's experimental, so you have to do it. But I'm just using it as the base default config. I'm not turning anything extra on. Quick Stack by Westwood. Basically, it adds a button to our inventory where we just click a button and it just stacks everything into our containers that is already in those containers. So we don't have to do that personally. It also has a restock function where if we push this button, everything in our inventory will be stocked back up to as much as it can from our containers, either up to a full stack or however much is in the containers. Stats in Description by Synthalian is just a quality of life mod. In any food or drink or anything like that, if you go to the description of it in vanilla, there's no telling you how much stuff. It gives you how much water, how much food, how much health it would give you. This adds that to it. And also they just recently updated where it's colored. So red means health, green means food, and blue means water in the description. So you can tell at a quick glance what you want. Cloud's Return of Glass Jars. I like having glass jars, so that's what this is. There was a bug before from No Cloud for You is the mod author, where you would get a stack of 10 jars at a time. Now it's been put down to 2 to 3. You get so you could used to get a quest reward from a trader and get like 10 of them. And you could also pull out 10 out of a loot container as well. Now it's like 2 or 3 at a time. Now, not only does it return glass jars, they added a functionality. If you go up to anything that should give you water, like a sink or a fire hydrant, a toilet, you can right click on it and it will fill up your glass jars with murky water. And then if you wish to, you can use them on normal, like if you go out to a lake or some water in a drainage ditch, you can just left click on it and that will give you the water that way. Chickens Give Eggs by Magnon. Basically what it says, when you kill a chicken and harvest it, it will give you, I think, 3 eggs at most. Jake Meister's 9.99's reasonable large stacks gives us reasonable large stacks. It just increases the stack size of things, and it doesn't increase them like exponentially, like up to I've seen some that increase it up to like 65,000 for everything. This just increases it like say you have like 7.62 ammo, the normal stack size is 150. This increases it to I think 300 for all the ammo, I think. Might be more for something like a like 9mm, I think for some reason is 500, I think. Zombie Reach Adjustment by Kane GB. The zombie reach is really bad in vanilla. It's just terrible. It outreaches a spear, and the spear is the longest weapon in the game. So, yeah, this is going to make it reasonable. Max Animals, Zombies, and Claim Blocks. Basically, what this does is allow us to limit For purposes, I use this for purposes of lag, so I don't have too much going on, because each zombie is a physics object, and each time you have to render a physics object, it impacts your system. So basically, what this does is allows us to make zombies less that can spawn, not zombies and POIs, but zombies that roam out in the world, not wandering hordes either, just ambient zombies out in the street. It will allow us to limit them if we wish to. I'm going to leave it at the default 64 for now, but if I notice my system is getting bogged down when we get into the mega cities, when we're in mega cities and stuff, I'm going to cut that down to like 32 like I normally do. Animals start at 50, I think is fine. And then the claim box part allows us to increase the number of claim blocks we can put down. I think its default is either 2, I think 2, and this allows us to put it up. I usually set this to 4 so I can have a base in each biome if I wish. Wandering Horde frequency is back. I found out that it is not, for some reason it is not Wonder Horde frequency on that was the problem. All of these mods seem to work together. So Wandering Horde frequency is back. I have turned it down to what I normally have it at to start, but we will increase this as time goes by. Probably I might do it every 7 days, but I'm most likely going to do it every 10 days, as I will increase the number and the wandering hordes that can happen. I think I've changed it to happen every 12 to 24 hours, and it will spawn between 5 and 10 zombies at the beginning. We're going to increase the number of zombies that spawn all the way up to 20 at the max and 15 at the minimum, and then we'll start decreasing the time so it can spawn more of them per day. Is how I'm going to go, but I will continue increasing it depending on how long the series goes. Okay, and Seminole has Sam's working stuff, no sinks. For some reason, the sinks from his mod broke, and he just hasn't been able to fix them yet. So you have to use the no sinks version to so you don't have like errors and stuff. But basically, it makes it where there's like a oven, a fridge, and things like that. Well, the fridge comes from the storage stuff, but the working stuff has the oven. We also have deco stuff for some decoration stuff, and building stuff. Building stuff. We'll go through it as we go in play. Arrow crossbow ammo conversion by Elucidus. Basically, what this is going to do for us is, if we go agility, I don't think we are, but if we do go agility, we can turn our any crossbow ammo, if we don't have a crossbow, into arrows, and any arrow ammo, if we have a crossbow, into crossbow bolts. So that's really what that's for, but it also can be used to save on storage space. Say you have like a bunch of iron arrows or something in your inventory, but you pick up some crossbow iron bolts, they can turn them into iron arrows, so you'll save an inventory slot. Izios, I need to change the name of this, because Izios has been updated to version 2. So there is, I'm going to go over this with you. Let me see if I can find it real quick. So there is some new weapons here for version 2. So version 2 now also has a SMG at tier 2, which is the Uzi SMG. That wasn't there before. Used to, you only had the regular SMG and the tier 0 pipe SMG that somebody made, that Izio has accepted them making for him for his pack and stuff. The 45 AZP now has still has the 45 revolver and the 1911 pistol. There is a in the tactical shotguns, there is a M184, I think is the it's very blurry for some reason. Um, oh, here it is. There, we can see it here. Uh, And there we go. So it is the M1014 in the tactical shotguns. And there are some things saying coming in the X update. The USP 45 in the pistols is coming. The M3 in the tactical shotguns is coming. In the traditional shotguns, we now have an M1897 trench gun. That is, and the next update will have an M37 shotgun, traditional shotgun. In the 5.56 carbine, we have the commercial AR-15. We have the CAR-15, which is commercial AR-15, and the M4 carbine now. The Bullpup has nothing yet for 5.56. The 7.62 has both the Mosin Nugget and the M1N reserve rifle. The 25 millimeter light grenade launcher now has both the China Lake grenade launcher and the XM25. Those weren't in there before. The 7.62 assault rifle has the Sturm rifle still. And the 45 ACP SMG has the M1928 Thompson, I think. Now, that's a tier 4 weapon. In Izio's pack, she does not allow you to craft tier 4 weapons. You have to find those in loot. And I'm not sure if they're in traders or not, but I know you should find those in loot. So you're not going to be crafting any tier 4 weapons at all, because those I think are considered like legendaries or something like that. And then we have the rocket launcher. The RPG 7 is in the rocket launchers. So that is version 2 of Izio's all-in-one gun pack. It's really nice. Not sure what we're going to do, but hopefully we get some good weapons out of there. I'm leaning towards perception early on, and I'll get into why I want to do perception once we get into doing the series in episode 1 probably. I have Blade Store Games unique relics and rings of potentials. This just gives us mods to put into our stuff. It gives us a lot of cool things. There's a lot of things in this. There's like a lot of things in this. So, and they're all pretty good, cool and things. So we'll be using that. Now, since we don't have traders, and since we have 25% loot, another thing I have in here to offset that is crafting parts by Creepers 152. Now, this does not allow us to craft legendary parts. We still have to find those out in the world. But crafting parts allows us to craft any part we need to make something. So we need a machine gun part, we can make a machine gun part. If we need a tool part, we can make a tool part. So yeah, that is what that is mod is for. And I decided to add this when I knew I was going to be doing a 25% loot run with no traders, just to offset it a little bit so we can actually get things. If we didn't have this, it just wouldn't be fun for me. So I'm trying to offset it to where I could still have fun by crafting things, but I can still get, and I don't have as much loot to get normally. Okay. Vanilla Food Model by XCX Harry is back in the old days of 7 Days to Die, when you had food in your hand, it would show a can of food, and it would be particular to that can of food. They removed that, and now you just have a big old lump of brown stuff in your hand. So now, this changes it to where it actually is. Like if you have a can of chili in your hand, you'll have a can of chili in your hand, not a big old lump of brown things. So that's what that is for. It's really good looking. I like it. So do check this out if you want like models of food and drinks in your hand. Dyes expanded. There are many different dye mods, and I decided to choose Dyes expanded. Or Giggle Fairy also has their own dyes mod. I just decided I wanted a little bit more. Or Giggle Fairies does have some good dyes, but it's limited. I wanted a lot more, so I decided to go with Dyes Expanded by AM 1908. It just gives us a lot of different colors of dyes for things. Craft Without Smelting by Alter. So what this does is it's both part take it both to a little bit counteract the loot and the no trader thing. So basically what this does is it makes the forge be able to be used without having to smelt things into it. It just removes that whole mechanic. So if you have iron and you have clay in your inventory, you can make forged iron without having to smelt it into the forge. But what it also does is it allows us to scrap things. One of the main things I would use this for is this would allow us to scrap any unwanted ammo that we have and get things back for it. We would get 100% of it back, but we don't get everything. So say we smelt down some 7.62 because we don't need 7.62. We get some high power or something. We don't want the high power ammo version. So what we can do is we can smelt this down. Now it's not going to give us gunpowder, and it's not going to give us brass, I don't think. What it gives, no, it gives us brass. It doesn't give us the lead. So it will just, I think it just gives us brass only, and we get all of the brass that would be used to made in one bullet. So if we smelt like, if we scrap it while we're in the forge, it will give us all of that back. It will like smelt it and craft it into things for us. I hope I'm explaining that correctly. If not, I'll try to go over it once we get into the game. All right, Just Black Wolf. I wanted a lot of extra and stuff. I've played with vanilla perks and so much. I would like something more. So better vanilla perks basically just changes this. Now there is it depends on if you think this is overpowered or not, because he didn't just mess with the vanilla perks. He also messed with the bleed mechanic of the game. If you hit a zombie with any bullet or arrow or anything, they're gonna bleed. Basically, everything now bleeds the zombies, and you can kill zombies pretty quickly with this. It does stack up pretty well. If you blow a limb off, they will bleed out even faster. They will have a big bleed put on them, and they will just die quicker. It depends on if you think that's too overpowered. There is a version of the mod without the bleed mechanic if you wish. I chose to use the bleed mechanic just to do that. So we're going to have that, and this changes pretty much all the vanilla perks. I don't think it changes everything, but I think it changes the majority of them, like over 95% of them. Better loot spawns. Now, this is not to counteract the 25% loot. This does not give us more loot. It gives us better loot, like it says. What I mean is in the vanilla loot table, you cannot just loot high power or AP ammo, as an example. With better loot spawns, we can loot that. What this means is we can find extra things out in the world. Now, this does mean we do get a little bit of an easier time because we do get higher power stuff, like the AP ammo. Really, we can get that like really early on. We could also get like better food really early on, because they allow us to get things like the soups, the vegetable soups, the meat stew, the hobo stews. We could just loot them out of the food containers easier. Well, not easier, but there's more of a chance to get it because it's a higher tier stuff. It just kind of makes it where we can get that stuff. One of the other things is we can, like in a water like in the coffee machine, we can actually get coffee now instead of just coffee grounds or a murky water. Same thing with the Mega Crush machines. We can actually get a Mega Crush out of it if it rolls well for us. It's just and we can also just loot candy out in the world. So we can do that. Better vanilla attachments. This just changes all the vanilla attachments in the game, like the reflex sights and the scopes, the triggers, and the bandoliers, things like that, and just makes them better, basically. Full set armor bonus in the vanilla game. The new armor system is, when you have a full set, is really limited and not very good. Just look at the assassin armor. So basically what this does is it gives us a lot more stuff when we have a full set on. As an example, let's say we have a full set of commando armor. Let me really quickly find, like, if I can find the vanilla values. So the commando in the vanilla, as a full deal, gives us recovery item speed. That's all it does. It goes up to 50% recovery item speed. That's that's like med kits and things like that. It makes it it makes it tick faster to give you health quicker. That's all it does. In the better full set armor bonuses mod, the commando armor now gives us 50% faster reload speed with assault rifles, pump and auto shotguns, and 9mm weapons. It gives us 50% faster rate of fire with those as well. It gives us 2% ADS accuracy with assault rifles and 9mm weapons. It gives us 25% recoil control with assault rifles and pump shotguns, auto shotguns, and 9mm weapons. It gives us 90% speed spread recovery with those as well. And then when inside a building, gain 25% stamina regeneration, 20% run speed, 30% walk speed, and 10% reload speed. That's what this mod does. It does things like that. So there is a lot of things that this mod does that gives you just more for having a full tier 6 armor set. Now, this not only does tier 6, I have the one that does all of it. So if we have a full tier 1 armor set of commando armor, we'll get stuff. We don't get as much, of course, as the tier 6 armor set, but we do get some of that. So yeah, it just has a lesser value. So yeah, so I have the full one. There is 2 versions. There's one that only affects the tier 6 version of the armor, and there's one that affects tier 1 to 6 when you have the full set going. Now, as the mod says, it doesn't affect the other things. It only affects the full set armor bonuses. It doesn't affect any individual piece. Those are still the same. Okay. Fixed and improved vanilla irons reflex sight is a Zio version. This makes the sights on the weapons like more accurate for the vanilla weapons and things like that. It really helps. The reflex sights are really off as well, so that's nice. S-Core. I could delete this. The only thing that this does right now for me, because I don't have anything else on, is I have it where it auto redeems the challenges, so it'll give us the experience. We don't have to actually have to go into the challenge menu to do anything on that. So that's all this is doing for right now. I turned off random walk and random size just in case that was messing with things. So yeah, so all we got that for is to automatically redeem our challenges. We're not have to worry about muting the traders because there's no traders in the world. One thing I guess I should say there's one other thing we'll be doing, and that will be disabling the flickering of the lights because I just do not care for that. I'm not epileptic, but just in case anybody who watches me is, and also it kind of, I'm not epileptic, but it does give me extra eye strain, and I don't want that. So that's what we got that. But we also need S-Core to use the lockpicking mini game by Zith and Sphero. So yeah, that's one of the other reasons we need it is because I do want the lockpicking mini game. I I have a love-hate relationship with the vanilla lockpicking system of 7 Days to Die, more on the hate side, but yeah. So yeah, we're just going to use the lockpicking mini game. Now, Wookie Nookie has random zombie names. If you've watched my War of the Walker series, you've seen that. That's a really good one. Basically, when the zombies health bar pops up, they'll have a random name. Kind of cool. Every now and then you'll see as like an animal have a random name as well. That's supposed to be fixed, but sometimes it crops in every now and then. Now, the other thing that Wookie Nucky has done has made a armor set quick swap. I'll go over this more once we get into the game, but it's a really, really good looking mod, and it works really, really well. They had to take it down on their first version because it didn't respect that the armor had mods in their slots. So when you did a swap, it deleted the mods in the armor. That has since been fixed, and I haven't seen any issues with it yet. So we're going to be using this. This is a really cool thing that I'm glad somebody finally got onto. Should be a vanilla damn thing. I'll come back to ZZ Tong's custom POIs in a second because I want to talk about something else in there. Loot all the things persistent version. Now this is going to like go against the 25% loot rule as well, in that we can now loot more things. Say we could find a pallet that would give us cobblestone. If we can now, instead of just taking it apart with a shovel, we can loot it with an E button action to get loot, and it will have cobblestone. I think it also has rocks and sand in it, or rocks and clay as well in it. But this allows us to get that stuff. Now, I chose the persistent version just in case something happens and we need to, you know, we need it to stay there because it's like holding up something somewhere. Because I don't want like a pallet to disappear and then like everything in the POI just falls apart because that one pallet, you know. If you've never looked at some of the stability of the POIs in the world, there is a show stability. If you go and toggle on DM mode, hit the escape button, one of the options over on the right is show stability. Just turn that on every now and then and look at the world and see how bad the stability of the POIs are. If you go and take out one block in one specific place, more than half of the POI collapses in some cases. So kind of don't want to take apart something sometimes. So I decided to choose the persistent version. But that's what that is, and it will counteract the 25% loot. But it's with the 25% loot, it's not that bad. And then we have Vabian's Mega Cities by Vabian. Also, Loot All the Things is by Fluffernutter Sandwich, of course. Vabian's Mega Cities by Vabian. What this does is in our random world generation, we can now get mega cities in the forest, the desert, the snow, and the burnt forest instead of just wasteland only. Now, there's a lot of mods that do this. Now, what the big thing about this mod does, and it also on top of allowing that to happen, is they change the spawn chances of each individual thing for mega cities, so where it's more where it will happen more often. So in World to World generation, there is a chance of this tile will be either royal or country town or something. There's a lot of different ones, and it's a sliding chance of something being more common than another. And the mega cities is the most rare, I guess you could say, and this makes it where it puts it on the puts it at a higher level, so it will spawn more often. That way, the mega cities will actually spawn more often. Now, with this, I've also did a quick test, and I no longer crash on 10K maps. So we're going to be playing on a 10K map as well this time around instead of an 8K map. So we're going to be playing on a 10K map. I didn't have any. I did a 5-day series where I went all the way up to the morning of day 5 on a 10K map. No crashes whatsoever. Usually I would crash a lot earlier than that. So we're going to be doing a 10K map. Hopefully it goes well. And we're going to be using Vebin's mega cities so we can have like really, really big cities. And the big thing about that is that means we have more POIs to go through because we have no traders to direct us to go, and we can't reset POIs. We're going to have no loot respawn, and we're going to have no chunk regeneration. And if you don't know what chunk regeneration is game is divided into chunks. If you have chunk regeneration on, if you have not been in that chunk in a specific amount of time, the whole chunk will reset, which means if there's is like a house in that chunk, it will reset as well. So it would be like a trader reset at that point. But I'm not going to have that on. I'm not going to have loot respawn on. So we're going to have to go from POI to POI to POI to keep on getting more loot to continue playing the game. So that's why I wanted the mega city, so we can have a lot more loot there. Now, this takes us to ZZ Tong's custom POIs. I love ZZ Tong's custom POIs. I don't agree with all of them, but I do love the majority of them. 2 of them that I have deleted from the pack. One of them is what is known, if you go into the files, it is known as ZZ Tong's, I think, custom propane. If you just search in your files for propane, you'll find it. I deleted it because it's just a POI with a shit ton of gas barrels. And if any zombie just decides to take a swing, that whole place is going to go up into flames, and the game's going to crash because of all the explosions. The game just can't handle that many explosions at once. There's so many barrels in there. I don't want to take a chance of my game crashing and having a chance of corrupting the world as well if that happens. So I deleted that POI. There's one more that's not as bad, but it could still have an issue. It's called, I think, the Biohazard Waste POI. And basically, that's just a crater out in the world with a bunch of barrels in it. The fuel barrel type. They look like the Biohazard Waste barrels, but they're fuel. You can open them up and get fuel out of them. Because I've ran into it a couple of times. And there's always like 3 or 4 zombies in there. And if they wake up and decide to hit shit, well, there you go. It's going up in the air just like the other one, and then we could crash, and then we can corrupt the world. Don't want it. So I just deleted it. I'm hoping those are the only 2 that I have to delete, but, you know. So, yeah. So I've deleted those 2 out of the files because I don't want to take the chance of me crashing and then corrupting the world if that happens. The other thing is, there's something I found out by reading the descriptions of the mod, which you should do, because I found this out like a little bit ago. If you go to ZZ Tong's, let me see if I can find it real quick in my list here. I want to find ZZ Tong's mod deal page. Okay, custom POIs by ZZ Tong. If you scroll down. I'm trying to remember where it is. No, it's not in here. Okay, it's not in the description. Okay. It's not in the description. Maybe it's in the article section. No. All right. Okay. So I thought it was off in the description, but it's not. And I thought it might be in the articles, but it's not. Okay. When you download ZZ Tongs and save it to your computer, which you should do, open up the zip file. I'm going to do it myself right now so I can tell you for sure where this thing is. Open up the zip file. I'm not going to show it, but I'll just tell you where it is. So I'm going to go to my section that I have my manual mods downloaded. And if I go down to ZZ Tongs and open it up. When you open it up, go into the ZZ Tongs prefab folder and open up the README. Just open it up and read it because it has so much information on it for you. It just has so much in here for you. Let me move this. Here it is. So, yeah, there's what you're looking for. If you go into the README, go to the section that's labeled Playing Without Traders and give it a good read. It basically tells you how to. ZZ Tong has put in here some POIs that allow you to um that just allow you to not have traders easier than what I was doing with my XML edits. So basically what you do is you go and generate a world. Then you find your generated world folder. It's under app data, roaming, 7 days to die, generated worlds. Go in there, find the prefabs XML and edit it. And what you do then is you control F your control F trader underscore and then the name of the trader that you want to find in there. And then what you do is once you find that, leave their name like it is, except for right after, like if you say you have trader underscore gen, make it say trader underscore gen X, and that will change the trader to a POI from ZZ Tong that is the trader compound. It's a little bit edited, but it's the trader compound that has a lot of zombies in it and things like that. Base and no trader. So that's what that is there. It was interesting. You'll see it when we make the world. I'm going to make the world, then I'm going to have to pause it to do the edit to the world. And then I'll show you because we're still going to go to that trader to find it. It's going to pop up and say no trader, but we can still find the traders out. We can still just walk over to the trader because we'll spawn near one. But yeah, so that's how you do it. And you change every trader that you want to change. You just add an X to the end of its name. And that'll change it to ZZ Tong's version of that trader, which has no trader and has a bunch of zombies in it. And it changes a little bit, like Trader Rex loot crates out in the yard and stuff like that is actually just changed to like the cardboard box things. And there is like usually a crate out in the yard that you can pop open to get something. Sometimes it's Shamway, sometimes it's a poppin' pills and stuff like that I've seen. But that's the easiest way to do that, to change the trader deals like that. So give me just a second and I'll go over which my XML changes, which are not much anymore. All right, here we are. So this is the deal here. All right, so this is my XML changes. You can ignore the trader stutter stuff because of ZZ Tongs, and the prefabs folder. We can ignore that. I don't do anything to the trader XML files. It blocks XML, trader spawner, or the traders in the POI, the prefab folder. I don't change any of that anymore. The progression XML, I did change. I do have the port points changed to 3 from 1. Entity groups.xml, I've added animal doe and had a number of 5. The animal stag, a number of 1 add, and I changed the none line on 478 from 90 to 84 because I added these numbers, which means this number right here, the 90, needs to be lowered to 84 for all the animals that are now spawning in the forest during the day. RWG Mixer, you don't have to change this anymore if you're using the Mega Cities mod, so you can ignore this. Zombie Walker Arlene, these are no longer needed because I'm not changing the random walk. I don't do anything to random walk. Auto challenges, line 135, change to true. I do have that on. Random sizes, I don't use that anymore. The line 63 default values for the locks is this. I change it to mine to this. The max give amount, I deleted the 6 and the 4. And the break time, I deleted a 0.8 and the 0.6 just to give us a little bit easier time lock picking. But I still break a lot of lock picks. It's not going to be too easy. I don't do anything to Transmorgifier CS anymore. Canes, GB spawned and claims, I do change the Windows XML file in there. That way I can have my day length of 22 and my max spawn zombies. I changed it from a 30 to a 32 because it's default 30. If I want to decrease the number, I do want it to be at 32, so it's half of 64. And the daylight length, this is mainly just for me to do videos quicker. Basically, this just makes daylight last longer. So it won't turn nighttime until 10 o'clock. And then it will turn back to day at midnight, basically. And the reason why I have it like that is just for me for recording purposes. I don't do a lot of I don't do POIs at night really. If we do get to that point, we'll probably change this number back to like default where night will last like 4 or 5 hours or 6 hours or something like that. And that way this way the nighttime will go quicker. I could set it to 24 hours, but I figured I would give it a little bit of a room. I don't really like adding just 24 hours instead. So it'll be nighttime for 2 hours, so I could still have a chance of like a spider zombie crawling up and just eating my face and stuff like that. Cops or something spawn out in the world and come to eat my face. So yeah, there we go there. That's kind of why it makes it where I can get to the next day quicker for y'all to because I usually just stop at the time it turns nighttime, my episode recording, and put it and just start it up the next day. And this way the time it's not as much time in between episodes for me. And then, like I said, I got the Wandering Hordes here, blocks ML, changed line 11, which is the the minimum time from 6 to 12. The line 12, which is the maximum time from 12 to 24. So one horde will spawn in between 12 and 24 hours. And I changed it from oh, that's not what those numbers are. These should be 5 and 10. If I'm not mistaken. Let me check real quick. I may have it at 10 and 15. If so, that's kind of cool that I'm being brave like that. Let me find... it's going to be under mods. Wandering Horde frequency, config, blocks XML. Yeah, I do have it 5 and 10 like I thought. Okay. So that needs to be changed to, this one needs to be changed to a 5, and this one needs to be changed to a 10. There we go. All right. And then I also have this one here. This is where I was looking, and this is the POI out in the world's name. But if you go into the files of the ZZ Tong folder, it's actually called ZZ Tong's propane, is what you're looking for. And then there's one that's biohazard. And this is going to be our base, most likely. I'm hoping to find a hangman's retreat. It's a really, really nice place to live. Um, you know, so it's really, really nice place to live. It's got pretty much everything we would want in it already. We just have to fix it up a little bit and change a couple things around. All right. So that is all of that. I want to thank everybody for watching. This is episode 0 here. We'll be back next time to make episode 1, day 1, and the random world generation, which might take a little bit, but like I'll do it like I did before, where I will pause it if we can't find something pretty quick. So I want to thank everybody for watching. I'll see y'all next time. Y'all have a nice time, whatever time it is in y'all's part of the world. Bye. Don't try this again.